I'm Dr. Anumirilas. I'm here to teach you about solid waste management and landfill. In today's class, we'll be studying about the disposal method, how the solid waste will be disposed. So, different types of methods are there. Some of the methods will be explained in today's class. You can see that solid waste disposal methods in that there are different are there. So, in the several methods, some are mentioned here. One is controlled tipping or burial, second one is hog feeding, third one is incineration, fourth is pyrolysis, and fifth one is composting. So, we will be studying in detail about each and every method in the coming slides. So, first one is a controlled tipping or burial. So, what is meant by controlled tipping or burial? So, from the name itself we can see that it will be like completely buried in the soil. So, controlled tipping or sanitary landfill is the most satisfactory method of refuse disposal where suitable land is available. So, we need more suitable land should be there. So, this method needs land. Proper area should be there. It refers from ordinary dumping in that material are placed in a trench. So, we will be placing the waste material in a trench or other prepared area adequately compacted and covered with earth. That is very important. So, we will be covering the waste with, we will compact the waste properly and later on we will cover that with earth. So, why we have to cover that with earth? Because if we open the waste material in the air, there will be flies will be there, also bad smells will be generated. So, it will be a nuisance for the people nearby. So, to avoid that we have to compact the waste for the volume reduction and later on we have to cover with earth. So, this is what we will be doing in the controlled tipping or burial. So, burial means you know that burying the waste material in the earth. The term modified sanitary landfill. What is mean by modified sanitary landfill? So, you know that landfill means we are covering or you are putting the waste and covering with earth. So, in that case we are doing compaction into the waste and covering it with the material. So, when we do that, what will happen? If rain comes, the waste material, water will enter to the waste material and leachate will be generated from that. So, to avoid that, that leachate will be generated and it will be going to the groundwater and creating pollution to the groundwater. To avoid that, we will make a engineered landfill or modified sanitary landfill. How it is? We will be keeping a permeable layer, or there will be a membrane layer or permeable layer to collect the leachate. We will keep a layer first in the ground, that is below the burial or in the ground bottom. We will keep a layer of that, and after that we will keep the waste material and we will keep it will be covered the waste using the soil. So, through that layer, through that membrane layer, we will be keeping a drainage and we will take the leachate outside for the further treatment. We won't allow the leachate to go and mix with the groundwater. So, that's why it is called as modified sanitary landfill. The next method is hog feeding. Hog feeding means it's not common in India. Refuse is ground well in grinder and then fed into sewers. So, we will refuse means in the first class I had taught you about refuse, garbage, what are the difference between them. So, different types of waste I had explained in the first class. So, I hope you all remember that. So, this refuse we will put it in the grinder and we will make it into a very small in size. We will ground it well using the grinders, so that volume reduction will be there and it is easy to feed into the sewers, and later on we will feed it into the sewers. So, when we feed it into the sewers, we will dispose the garbage into the sewer. What will happen? The BOD and total suspended solid amount will increase. It will increase up to by 20 to 30%. There will be an increase by 20 to 30% will be there when we dump this grinded refuse into the sewer. So, BOD and total suspended solid will increase by 20 to 30%. Hence, the disposal of the residual refuse is a problem. So, since the BOD and total suspended solids are increasing, we will put all the sewer waste finally to a treatment plant. It is very difficult to treat the waste. Next method of disposal is incineration. You all know what is meant by incineration. Incineration means it's a process of burning. So we will burn the material. In our houses, what we are doing? We are burning the material. So, but when we choose the material, the important thing is we have to remember that it should be a combustible component, right? If it is a non-combustible one, whether it will burn, it won't. So we have to suggest for a combustible component of garbage and refuse. So after burning, what will be the byproduct? So in our home, when we burn the waste material, after burning, what will we get? We will get ash as the byproduct. Same after burning, the byproduct will be ash and clinker. So this will be the byproduct generated after burning the waste material, that is garbage and refuse. So this ash and clinker will be disposed to the landfill. And main thing in the case of incineration is we have to remember the main point is we will be providing oxygen in this case. In our house, how we are burning? We will be putting the waste outside, we will be burning it. Combustion will be done. So at that time, oxygen presence will be there. That is what is incineration. So we are burning in the presence of oxygen. Disposal of solid waste by incineration can be effectively carried out in small scale in food service establishment as well as institutions such as hospitals, schools, etc. So it requires only less space. So small scale we can do this incineration. So in houses, hospitals, schools, everything we are doing incineration. But when we do in hospitals, we have to segregate and sort out the waste properly. We have to see the combustible and non-combustible properly. The disadvantage of this method is that only combustible material are incinerated. So as I already told, only combustible materials can be incinerated. Hence, there is a need for separation of waste into combustible and non-combustible. So we have to first collect the waste. When we collect it, we have to sort it out, whether it is wet waste or dry waste, whether it is combustible or non-combustible. So the non-combustible waste, we have to find another way of disposal. We can't go with incineration. So in the case of incineration, oxygen is we are combusting the material in the presence of oxygen. So the heat generated by burning the refuse may be utilized for raising steam power. So after the heat generated, so after burning, what is the heat generated? From the incineration. So the heat what is generated from the incineration can be utilized for raising the steam power. We can use it for raising steam. That steam will be raising steam power. So we will be using that steam for other purpose. So emission of air pollutant from incinerators includes. So what are the air pollutant emitting from that? It will be includes particulates such as fly ash will be there, that is one of the air pollutant, and other product of combustion will be there. Permissible limit of particulate emissions from large incinerators is 0.23 gram per standard cubic meter of exhaust gas. So the value is almost 0.23 gram per standard cubic meter. Smoke is also undesirable product. Smoke can be eliminated by mixing the exhaust with hot air to complete combustion. So whatever the smoke is coming out when we do the combustion, we can mix with the exhaust with hot air and we can complete the combustion process. So incineration itself, there are two type of incinerators are there. One is open and the other one is closed. So open and closed both itself, you know that. One will be in open position, one will be in closed form. Open means the refuse will be incinerated in a chamber that is open to the air. So you know that what is open. And closed means always in the closed case the chamber will be closed. So the closed system contains a special chamber designed with various parts to facilitate incineration. So the special chamber, that chamber will be closed. So in that, how the oxygen will be given? That is a question, because incineration means it will be burned. The waste will be combusted in the presence of oxygen. So how it will be burned? So it requires a chimney of appropriate height to provide a good flow of air through the combustion chamber. So we will provide a chimney of appropriate height. So proper height should be maintained, and with that a good flow of air will be gone and combustion will be conducted in such case. There are a variety of designs for small scale incinerator. The size can be varied depending on the volume of refuse to be incinerated. So the size of the incinerator will be depend on the volume, how much volume of refuse we need to incinerate. So that is will be the size of the incineration. So maybe in some cases population will be more, in such places more waste will be generated, so we need a big incinerator. Or if it is very less population and very less waste is generated in that particular city, means we will go for a small scale incinerator. So the size will vary based on the volume of the refuse. So here I had kept an image of the incineration. You can see the general view. The general view is displayed here. You can see how it looks like. So when it comes to the section view, you can see that there is a clearing door is there, and in that clearing door and also a filling door is there. So the filling door, we will be providing the waste inside, and a baffle wall is there. So we will be putting the waste, dumping the waste inside the incinerator to the filling door. So this way we will be putting the waste. And here you can see a grid is provided here. This is a grid provided in the bottom. And as I already told, we have incineration means we are combusting the waste refuse in the presence of oxygen. So if it is a closed chamber, closed chamber, how we will provide the oxygen? So oxygen has to be given. So for that, what we are giving here, air inlet is provided here in the both surface, that is sides, left side air inlet is there, right side also air inlet is there. This is how oxygen is entering inside. And this is the chimney. So this is the chimney is here. So through this the air will go out. So this is how the incineration process looks like. So the combustion chamber laid with iron grids, at the bottom of which are air inlet in the front and at the back. So you can see here air inlet I had already told, and the other thing is iron grids also I had explained already. The front and back walls with provision for installing chimney, the feeding door with baffle wall to facilitate refuse feeding. So this is the feeding door will be there here, this is the feeding door, and this is the baffle wall provided here, this is the baffle wall. So the base below the combustion chamber for collecting. So here you can see a small base is there. So here we will collect the byproduct of the incineration. Coming to the advantages of an incinerator. What is the advantage? So less land is required than for landfill. So landfill we need more. So here we want less land. This is most hygienic method since it ensures complete destruction of pathogen, because in the presence of oxygen we are burning, so pathogens will be destructed in such case. Ash and other residue produced are free of organic matter and nuisance free. And many kinds of refuse can be burned in this case, but we have to segregate combustible and non-combustible burn. Then this closed, here you can see in the image, since it is closed, climate change won't be affected. If any rain comes or climate change issues are there, it won't affect in such case. Then flexibility is also possible in this case, and getting income through the sale of waste heat for the steam or power is possible. So what are the steam generated? From that we can use it for other purpose. So from that we will get another income also. So what is the disadvantage of an incinerator? Disadvantage means initial cost is high, that is during the construction the cost will be high, and operating cost is also relatively high. Skilled employees are required for operation and maintenance. We need more skilled persons for that, and they should know the operation of that equipment, and operation cost is also high. Starting when we do the construction, the initial cost is also high. Then we have to do improper, if we do a improper operation, what will happen? There will be a air pollution problems will be there. And the other thing is difficulty in getting a site. We have to be away from the other people, local people, and also we have to find a proper site for that. Then disposal of the remaining residue is required. Then the chimney has to be in height. So high stacks needed for natural draft chimney present safety problem. So there will be smoke will be generated from that. So if we provide high stacks, air pollution can be avoided in such case. So that is required based on the safety thing. We have to think about that also. So here you can see incineration plant with pollution control system. Here you can see the waste storage pit is here. So this is the waste storage pit, and from that we are taking the waste and it is coming through here, and here we are heating the waste. Here the waste is heated, and that heat will generate some steam here. That steam, the boiler system is here. The steam in that boiler system, whatever is coming, the smoke is coming from here through the boiler system. We are making it into steam, and we are using in the case of turbine and power reserve. We are using in the case of turbine and power to the power plant. We are generating power. So electricity is generated at the end. So as I told in the previous slide, we can make profit. See the last point, getting income through the sale of waste heat for steam or power is possible. So that part we are doing here. We are taking the heat, and through the boiler system we are steaming it, and we are using it for power plant and generating electricity. And whatever the waste, the ash generated, we are taking it out through here. So filtering it, and this is the chimney, this is the stack. So whatever the stack is already here, and whatever the ash generated, we are taking it to a truck and we are shipping it to the landfill. So the next one is pyrolysis. Pyrolysis means the opposite of incineration. That is, we are doing pyrolysis, that is the decomposition of waste will be done as like in incineration, but the main difference is it will be done in the absence of oxygen. That is very important. So it will be done in the absence of oxygen, whereas combustion is incineration is done in the presence of oxygen. So here we need extreme heat. So here we are giving extreme heat in the absence of oxygen to produce a mixture of gaseous and liquid fuels and a solid inert residue. The ratio of what is produced during the decomposition process varies according to the temperature used for decomposition. So when we are converting, when this conversion takes place in the environment without an oxygen, and the pressure will be elevated such cases. So we are getting a high conversion rate of organic matter has happened in this case. The waste will be highly converted into a organic matter, and that vapor can be treated to produce to a vapor, and that can be treated to produce a hydrocarbon. Other than this, this will result in oil. Resulting oil is similar in characteristic to heavy crude oil. So we will get the byproduct of a heavy crude oil. So pyrolysis to produce bio oil from waste is a promising way to not only improve the economic value, but it will reduce the pollutants associated with the sludge. So this will reduce the pollutant, and it will produce the bio oil. So heavy crude oil will be generated by the pyrolysis process, and most of the organic matter can be highly converted in this case. So high conversion rate of organic matter in the waste to a vapor can be done in the pyrolysis. So this is done in the absence of oxygen and at elevated pressures. The sludge resulting from domestic wastewater treatment process consists of complex heterogeneous mixtures of organic and inorganic material. We know that it will be contain different organic and inorganic material. So the pyrolysis, that means the combustion, the thermal decomposition will be done to the organic substance under oxygen free substance, that is in the absence of oxygen. So we will make a complex reaction or chemical reaction there, and we will get a byproduct. The products of sludge pyrolysis will be oil. It can be organic, liquid and tar. So there will be oils. It can be organic, liquid and tar. Gases will be generated as byproducts. So the products will be byproduct, and char will be generated. So the oils what we are synthesized, char and gas can be used. That is another point, that from there we are getting the income. So the synthesized oil, char and gas can be used as a alternative fuel, and temperature has been shown to an important factor in determining the yield of this product. So we can use this material as alternative fuel, but this pyrolysis has to be done in elevated pressures and in the absence of oxygen to get these material as the byproducts. So here acceptance of the technology has been limited by low economic value of the produced oil as well as relative complexity of processing equipment. So the difference I hope you understood about incineration and pyrolysis. Incineration we are doing in the presence of oxygen, pyrolysis we are doing in the absence of oxygen and elevated pressures. Thank you everyone. I hope you understood the class what I had taught today. how the disposal of waste is done. In the next class, I will be coming with the continuation of the same topic. We will be studying about the disposal, that is composting. We will be studying in detail about composting. Thank you everyone.